Today's incident will wake up your soul. Please watch the incident till the end. Dear friends, today we will tell you such a true and heart-wrenching story that a noble girl who was a Hafiz Quran used to earn her livelihood by stitching clothes for people. Why did she become a victim of punishment after her death? Everyone was stunned to know the condition of her grave because she was very noble. On the insistence of people, when her mother told the truth about that girl, everyone got goosebumps after knowing this. The request is that you must watch this video till the end, because many women make such mistakes while stitching clothes. Today's story is very lesson-giving, especially for those women and men who do work like stitching and embroidery, because unknowingly they commit such a crime, due to which they may have to face very severe punishment. A girl named Fatima lived with her mother in a remote area of a city. Her father had passed away. Fatima's mother also got Fatima educated in Quran Pak Hafiza and school, and also taught sewing so that she could help people. By stitching clothes, if nothing else, then at least she could run the household, that is, those mother and daughter could earn 2 meals a day. Fatima was a very hard-working girl. She had some principles from which she never backed down. She used to move away. For a long time, 2 women were sitting with her. They were insisting again and again to stitch clothes, but Fatima replied to them in a few words that she could not stitch their clothes. Those women then started pleading with Fatima. Look, Fatima, don't refuse. You stitch clothes for everyone, and you do it very well. Stitch our clothes too. We have bought very expensive clothes. We don't want to spoil our clothes by giving them to someone like that. You know that women from all the streets and neighborhoods get their clothes stitched from you only. You stitch very well at a low price. And the clothes, they look very good to wear too. Fatima said, but the kind of design you people are talking about, I don't stitch such clothes. Those clothes have full sleeves. The design of the salwar will also be such that the feet will be visible above the calves. Oh, how can I stitch such clothes? Fatima refused outright saying this. Those women said, instead of giving you 600 stitches, we will give you 1,000 stitches for a pair. We like your stitching very much. You work very delicately. Fatima stood up and said, no, sister, I will not stitch. And then she went towards her kitchen. After both the women left, Fatima's mother said to Fatima, daughter, why are you ruining your livelihood? Why did you not want to stitch clothes? If you had some money. Fatima said, Amma, I cannot stitch such obscene clothes for anyone. Saying this, Fatima went to wudu while setting her dupatta. She went to work, and her mother also became silent. And whenever anyone spoke to Fatima, she used to give similar answers. She loved her daughter a lot. Her mother also used to work in people's houses, and the daughter used to work hard at home. While doing this, Fatima prepared all the dowry items. Then, Fatima's mother found a good boy and got Fatima married. The boy was poor, but respected Fatima a lot. While arranging the marriage, Fatima's mother had said that she had no support except her daughter, so she would keep her daughter and son-in-law at her home. They also agreed. In this way, after marriage, Fatima started living in her mother's house again. No matter how much money her husband earned, it was still difficult to run the house. Fatima had to stitch clothes. Time passed like this. Fatima became pregnant. Now it was becoming very difficult for Fatima to stitch clothes. Meanwhile, Fatima had to do this. She got good news, and her husband came home and told her that he had been fired from his job. Hearing this, Fatima started crying and thinking, what will happen to her now? Will she stitch clothes, even in this condition? Can't she get peace? Although Fatima's husband used to take great care of her, when she used to sit to stitch clothes, he used to make tea for her while sitting there. Sometimes he used to make food, and he also used to work outside. Now often Fatima used to have arguments with her husband regarding work. She used to misbehave with him and use foul language. When her husband used to sit to eat, she used to say that he was a workless person and an enemy of work. That poor fellow used to eat 2 bites of food and get up and go out, although he also used to go to find work every day. It was Allah's will that he was not getting work. While doing this, finally the day came when Fatima gave birth to a daughter. Fatima's husband and Fatima's mother were very happy to see the baby girl. The husband was distributing sweets from house to house in celebration of the baby girl. Meanwhile, Fatima's husband got the good news of the baby girl, and Fatima's husband also got a job. The contractor where Fatima's husband got the job was very strict. He used to behave rudely with the workers. He only loved work. People used to work for him only under compulsion, and often he used to abuse the workers. It was becoming difficult for Fatima to run her house. When her daughter grew up a little, Fatima started sewing again so that her daughter's expenses could also be met. The women used to give her the leftover cloth from the clothes that the women used to get stitched. She used to make small frocks for her daughter from the same cloth and made her wear them. This is how she used to survive, because Fatima's husband did not earn so much that he could spend more. Only the husband could pay for the electricity bills and the house. Then one day, God's will was such that there was a disaster in their house. It happened like this. Suddenly Fatima's foot slipped from the stairs and she fell from the first step to the last step. So much blood oozed from her head that Fatima's mother started crying and screaming. The whole neighborhood gathered in their house. Quickly, Fatima's husband was informed. It was Friday and Fatima's husband was at work because he thought that with the extra money he would buy toys for his daughter. No other worker was working that day. When Fatima's husband got such news about his wife, he quickly locked the doors and ran back home. He kept the keys in his pocket and quickly came home. While taking Fatima to the doctor, Fatima died on the way. Fatima's husband remembered many things about Fatima. He was crying in agony, and Fatima's mother was also crying inconsolably. Fatima's husband was also crying a lot because he had an innocent daughter. What would happen to her? How would she grow up without her mother? She was still so young, and only used to drink her mother's milk. Thinking all this, he started crying even louder. Everyone started regretting Fatima's sudden death. Who knew that a young girl would go away so silently in her youth? Everyone used to sing the praises of Fatima's goodness. Everyone knew how good she was, how pious she was, how pious she was, how caring she was. Everyone was busy praising her. Fatima's mother and husband were crying badly. Both of them were exhausted with grief. Then the time of burial came near, and Fatima's funeral procession was taken out, and Fatima was taken to the nearest graveyard and buried. While burying her, her husband got down inside the grave, and during that time the keys came out of his pocket and fell inside the grave, where he had locked the place after work. Her husband did not know about this. He returned home. In the evening, everyone went to their respective homes. After everyone left home, Fatima's sewing machine was kept right in front of her. Her mother would start crying, seeing it again and again, because earlier she was sad about being a widow, and now she was sad about her daughter leaving and her little granddaughter being left alone. Fatima's husband was tormenting her. He held Fatima's mother and was also holding his daughter in his lap. But how could a mother be at peace? The daughter who had become her mother's support had gone away so suddenly. Fatima's mother could not believe it. Fatima's mother kept saying, "Just now, my daughter was sewing clothes. What has happened?" Her mother could not believe it in any way that her daughter had left this world. Fatima's little daughter was also crying bitterly, and Fatima's husband did not want her to be out of work for the next 2-3 days. He wanted to take good care of his daughter and was a great pain in his wife's life. He wanted to tell the owner that he would not come to work for the next 3 days. As soon as Fatima's husband touched his pocket, the keys were not in his pocket. He started thinking about where the keys went. After thinking a lot, he remembered that he had kept the keys in his pocket. Fatima's mother was also looking at the worried face of her son-in-law and said, "Furkan, son, what is the matter?" Then Furkan told his mother, "Marji, the keys were in my pocket." He did not know where she fell. He did not know whether she fell in the mosque or the graveyard. At that very moment the thought came to Furkan's mind that when he had descended inside the grave, the keys might have fallen in the grave. As soon as this thought came to his mind, he became very worried, because the contractor was a very cruel man. He would not leave Furkan. As soon as the keys got lost, he would have killed him because he cared more about his work than the person. Furkan was thinking this when the contractor's call came, and he said that he had to put the men to work in the morning, so he would give me the keys right now and overnight. Give it to me so that I can put the workers to work early in the morning. Furkan's heart went dry after hearing this. He could not even say that the keys had been lost somewhere. He only said that he would deliver the keys to me in the morning. Now he had to search for the keys overnight. After much thought, he headed towards the graveyard. It was midnight and Fatima's daughter was still sleeping with her grandmother. Fatima's husband started walking towards the graveyard at midnight. His heart was a victim of panic. He was very worried and fearful too. He had never come to the graveyard so late in the night before. This graveyard was a little far from the village. He was not able to understand what to do at all, but this was also a compulsion. Those were precious keys. He had lost them due to his carelessness, and while searching for these keys, he reached the graveyard at midnight. There was a strange feeling of death. Fatima's husband Furkan's heart sank. In the evening itself he reached near the grave in which his wife was buried. Then he started digging from the side of the feet. His purpose was to get his keys. He had just dug a little portion when Gorak reached there and angrily said, "What are you doing? Are you a shroud thief?" Fatima's husband nervously turned the torch towards his face. Then Gorak said, "You are the same person whose wife had died in the evening." Fatima's husband nervously said, "Yes, I had come here in the evening to bury my wife. But while burying my wife, the precious keys fell from my pocket into the grave. And those keys are very important to me. Please help me." On hearing this, the man who was Gorak started helping Fatima's husband. Both of them together dug a good grave very quickly. They went to meet Gorak. Fatima's husband's fear had also ended, and the hope of getting the key had also risen. After some time, the grave was completely opened. When Fatima's husband saw the scene inside the grave, he was shocked. Gorak again started putting soil in the grave very quickly. He was sweating. He said, "What kind of a woman was your wife that such a punishment is happening in her grave?" Fatima's husband himself could not believe it. Whatever he saw, was it happening to his wife? Fatima was very good and noble. Everybody praised her goodness. She had never committed any such crime due to which she was in this condition. He started suffering from trouble. "For what crime did my wife get such a big punishment?" Gorak said, "You make some other arrangement for the keys. It is very difficult to find the keys in the grave, and you have done it. You saw that his punishment is not ending, and what is his condition? Repent for him, and if there is any sin that he has committed in his life, then find out about it so that he can be forgiven." Furkan returned to his home crying. Fatima's mother saw him and said, "Where were you till so late in the night? I was worried for you for so long." Furkan sat at Fatima's mother's feet and said, "Amma, my peace and comfort have been lost," and he was still shivering badly. Fatima's mother got scared and asked, "Son, tell me what's the matter. Where were you till so late in the night?" Furkan said that he had gone to the graveyard in search of the keys, but after going there and seeing the scene, I may not be able to take a breath of peace in my whole life. Fatima's mother also got scared and said, "Furkan, don't solve riddles. Tell me what happened," and then Furkan told her while crying. When Fatima's grave was dug up to find the keys, I was shocked to see the scene in the grave. "Amma, I cannot tell you how much a pious woman like Fatima was being punished. Fatima's lips were burning and she was screaming badly." I tried to extinguish the fire, and I saw her black lips, which had become very big as if they were hanging down, while the rest of the body was safe. The fire extinguished for a while and then flared up again. At first I couldn't understand that this was a punishment from God, but Gorak told me that this was a punishment from Allah and was only burning her lips. Furkan started crying and said, "Amma, I do not understand why her lips were on fire." She used to remember Allah with these lips all the time. She had never spoken ill of anyone with these lips. She was a good woman. Fatima's mother and her husband kept crying all night and prayed to Allah for Fatima's forgiveness. They kept on praying. When the Fajr Azan was called, Fatima's mother started saying quietly, "Tell everything to the Imam Sahab of the mosque and find out what the matter is. Why is this happening to my daughter? Did she commit any mistake? The Imam Sahab is very noble and accomplished. They are humans. They will help us." Furkan also thought this to be appropriate. If anyone could solve this problem, it was Imam Sahab. Furkan went for namaz, and after namaz he stopped the Imam Sahab of the mosque and told him the whole story while crying in solitude. Hearing this, he said, "I want to meet Fatima's mother." Furkan brought Imam Sahab to his house and got him to meet Fatima's mother. Imam Sahab asked, "Amma, tell me, did Fatima ever backbite or did she commit any such sin?" Fatima's mother said, "No, my child used to do only sewing work. She did not have so much time that she could go to the neighborhood or call her friends." Then hearing this, Imam Sahab asked a question that shocked Fatima's mother. Imam Sahab said, "Did Fatima kept someone's trust with her, that is, any leftover cloth, any glue used on a dress, etc.?" Fatima's mother said that Fatima used to give back the leftover clothes and thread, etc., and whatever cloth she wanted, she used to take it after asking. Imam Sahab said, "Think about it. There can be such a mistake, due to which she is being punished in her mouth. But still, she must have committed some sin knowingly or unknowingly. I started thinking that there is some matter of trust here because I am aware of the goodness of Fatima. After all, Imam Sahab also knew Fatima very well, so Fatima kept the Holy Quran with her. Imam Sahab said, "Wife, still think and tell me any such thing of your daughter which she used to do, and that habit is related to Fatima's lips." Fatima's mother said, after thinking a lot, "And I was very annoyed with that habit of hers. She used to break the thread with her mouth instead of scissors, and then whatever fiber of the thread remained in her mouth or on her lips, she used to chew with her teeth. I had often seen her mouth moving, but she would not pick up the scissors again and again. She would pull the thread with her mouth and break it, and then spit the same thread out of her mouth. Many times I explained to her that the hair could also be cut in this way, but she had become firm in her habit." On hearing this, Imam Sahab said that then this punishment may be due to that particle of thread, because before Fatima died, she got up while stitching clothes and went towards the stairs. Perhaps at the time of her death, that particle of thread remained in her mouth, and she is being punished because of that thread. A small piece of thread, along with the leftover sewing material, is considered the trust of the person who pays for stitching clothes. Like all the leftover things, it is necessary to return the thread and other things too. You people should pray for forgiveness in this way, and talk to all those people who used to get clothes stitched by Fatima and tell them about Fatima's habit and apologize for this. But on hearing this, Fatima's mother became very upset. Though it was a very minor matter, she had no idea that because of it, Fatima would have to undergo such a severe punishment. Then Fatima's mother gathered all those people in her house whose clothes Fatima used to sew and told everyone about this small habit of Fatima and folded her hands for her forgiveness. But this was not such a big thing, so everyone forgave her immediately. In the eyes of some people it was not even a crime, But what seems minor to a person is often heavy in deeds. Here this was a matter of trust. Perhaps that is why Fatima was caught. Everyone was aware of Fatima's good habits, so they forgave Fatima and left. That very night, Fatima's mother said to her son-in-law Furkan, "You must quickly dig the keys to her grave again, and after seeing the scene inside, tell whether the punishment has been removed from her." Fatima's mother wanted to know what was the real reason behind her punishment. Was a small thread the reason for her punishment? That night Furkan again went to Gorak, and both of them dug the grave and saw that Fatima's body was perfectly fine. A sweet smell was coming from her body. There was no punishment of any kind left. Furkan's keys were also in the same grave. Furkan picked up those keys from there and closed the grave again. And coming back home, Fatima's mother was told the whole incident. She thanked Allah, and the punishment of Allah was removed from her daughter. And when the villagers came to know about this, everyone was shocked that such a pious woman had to suffer punishment because of trust. All the villagers repented, and then everyone tried to improve their affairs. After that day, everyone in the village became very careful about trust. If anyone had even a small thing of someone, it would be returned immediately. Fatima had gone, but while leaving, she left her mother and husband sad. Fatima's daughter and Fatima's husband and mother, all three, used to remember her again and again. Fatima was a flower whose fragrance was spread all around. Even after her departure, people had not forgotten her at all. She is still alive in everyone's hearts because of her good morals and attitude. She must be at some high place in heaven. She has already suffered the punishment for the small sin she had committed. It is just a simple thing that when Fatima broke a small piece of thread with her mouth, its fibre remained in her mouth, which Fatima chewed and spat out, but this is often the case with women who sew. I have seen many women cutting thread with their mouths, but has anyone ever thought that because of this also a person will have to answer to Allah? This small fibre of thread is also a part of the trust, and this matter will go to the grave. Because of this little negligence also there will be a punishment from Allah. Therefore today's video is for every person who does sewing and embroidery work. If you also make such a mistake, then please do not make such a mistake. Do not betray your faith and return everything from thread to button. We hope that our story today is a lesson for you people and those who do not care about trust. They will also be. Majid will learn a big lesson from this story. To get more such videos, please become a part of our family by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.